If you are lying next to your partner at night and feeling lonelier than you did when you were single, this message is for you. No one talks about this part of marriage. No one warns you that intimacy doesn't always disappear with a fight or betrayal. Sometimes it fades quietly, while everything else looks normal. The house is fine, the family is fine, the routine is fine. But something deeply personal is missing, and you keep asking yourself the same silent question: when did we stop wanting each other? A sexless marriage doesn't start in the bedroom. It starts in the small moments when connection slowly slips away, unnoticed, unspoken, and unresolved. In the beginning, you tell yourself it's temporary. Stress, work, children, exhaustion, health, timing. There is always a reason. You remember how things used to be and believe they will return on their own. But time passes, and instead of closeness coming back, distance becomes familiar, touch becomes rare, desire feels awkward, and intimacy starts to feel like something that belongs to the past instead of the present. One of the first signs your marriage is becoming sexless is the disappearance of natural physical affection. Not sex, but touch, the kind that happens without thinking, holding hands, sitting close, hugging for no reason, kissing without it leading somewhere. When these moments fade, the relationship slowly shifts from romantic partners to emotional roommates. You still care, but your bodies no longer speak the same language. And when touch disappears, desire usually follows. Another sign is when intimacy begins to feel scheduled, forced, or avoided. You notice patterns forming. One partner stays up late, the other goes to bed early. You scroll on your phone instead of turning toward each other. You find reasons to stay busy, not because you don't care, but because avoidance feels safer than rejection. Over time, initiation stops altogether, not because the desire is gone, but because the fear of being unwanted is stronger. Communication also changes. You still talk, but only about practical things: bills, responsibilities, children, work. You stop sharing how you feel. You stop asking deep questions. Vulnerability disappears. And without emotional closeness, physical intimacy struggles to survive. Desire needs safety. It needs connection. It needs to feel seen and understood. As the distance grows, resentment quietly builds. One partner may feel rejected and unattractive. The other may feel pressured, misunderstood, or emotionally exhausted. These feelings are rarely expressed honestly. Instead, they come out as irritation, silence, sarcasm, or emotional withdrawal. Small arguments carry heavy emotional weight, and intimacy becomes associated with tension instead of comfort. In many marriages, this leads to a painful imbalance. One person wants closeness more than the other. The one who wants intimacy feels needy and ashamed. The one who avoids it feels guilty or defensive. Desire becomes a power struggle, and when intimacy feels like control instead of connection, both partners lose. Technology deepens the gap. Screens steal attention that once belonged to each other. Nights are filled with scrolling, watching, and distraction. You are physically together but mentally elsewhere. Presence disappears, and desire cannot exist without presence. Health, aging, stress, hormones, and mental health can all affect intimacy. But when these topics are never discussed openly, they turn into silent misunderstandings. One partner assumes rejection. The other feels trapped by expectations they cannot meet. Without communication, both suffer quietly. Eventually, the silence becomes heavy. You want to talk about it, but you don't know how. You rehearse the conversation but never start it. You fear hurting your partner. You fear the truth. You fear confirming what you already suspect. So you stay quiet. And the longer the silence lasts, the harder it becomes to break. This is the second phase, where loneliness becomes a daily feeling. Not dramatic loneliness, but a dull ache. You miss being desired. You miss being wanted. You miss feeling close. And what makes it worse is that you are married, yet emotionally alone. This kind of loneliness damages self-worth. It makes you question your attractiveness, your value, and sometimes even your identity. Some people cope by shutting down completely. They convince themselves intimacy no longer matters. Others become consumed by the lack of it. Both responses are signs of unmet emotional needs, and neither brings peace. As time goes on, the idea of intimacy itself starts to feel strange. The distance has lasted so long that reconnecting feels awkward. You don't know how to touch without it feeling forced. You don't know how to talk without it turning into an argument, and so nothing changes. But here is the truth most people never hear. A sexless marriage is rarely about sex. It is about emotional disconnection, unresolved pain, exhaustion, fear, and silence. Desire doesn't die. It goes dormant, waiting for safety, understanding, and closeness to return. Rebuilding intimacy does not begin in the bedroom. It begins with honesty, with listening without defensiveness, with small moments of connection that carry no expectations, a conversation that feels safe, a touch that asks for nothing, a decision to turn toward each other instead of away. Many marriages can recover from this phase, not overnight, not easily, but slowly, intentionally, and honestly. Awareness is the first step. Courage is the second, and connection is built one moment at a time. If you see your marriage in this story, know this: you are not broken, and your relationship is not beyond hope. Silence can be comfortable, but it comes at a cost. Connection is uncomfortable at first, but it leads to healing. If this video opened your eyes or made you feel understood, don't ignore that feeling. Like this video, share it with someone who might need it, and subscribe to the channel for more honest conversations about marriage, intimacy, and emotional connection. Sometimes, the first step back to closeness is realizing you're not alone. There is a moment many people in sexless marriages experience but rarely talk about. It's the moment when you stop expecting intimacy altogether. You stop dressing up for your partner. You stop hoping for a touch. You stop wondering if tonight will be different. Not because you don't care anymore, but because hope feels too painful. Disappointment hurts less when you expect nothing. This emotional shutdown often feels like peace, but it's actually protection. And protection, when it lasts too long, becomes distance. Another sign your marriage is becoming sexless is when flirting disappears completely. Not just physical flirting, but playful energy, teasing, inside jokes, lightness. Desire needs playfulness to survive. When everything in the relationship becomes serious, practical, or transactional, intimacy suffocates. You may still function well as a team, but romance doesn't thrive in survival mode. Many couples fall into fixed roles without realizing it. One becomes the caretaker, the other becomes dependent. One carries the emotional load, the other avoids conflict. These roles may keep the marriage running, but they quietly kill desire. Attraction grows between equals, not managers and dependents. When one partner feels more like a parent or a responsibility than a lover, intimacy fades naturally. Unresolved emotional wounds also play a powerful role. Past arguments that were never truly healed don't disappear. They settle into the body. Even if you forgive mentally, the emotional memory remains. Trust becomes fragile. Vulnerability feels risky, and intimacy requires vulnerability. When emotional safety is compromised, the body protects itself by pulling away. There is also shame. Shame around wanting intimacy. Shame around not wanting it. Shame around talking about it. Many people grow up believing desire is something to hide or suppress. In marriage, this shame becomes silence. Instead of open conversations, partners guess, assume, and misunderstand. And misunderstandings grow into distance. As the sexless pattern continues, identity begins to shift. You stop seeing yourself as a desirable partner. You stop feeling confident in your body or your worth. Rejection, even when unintentional, leaves marks. Over time, this can lead to anxiety, depression, or emotional numbness. Intimacy is not just physical, it's deeply tied to how we see ourselves. Some people try to fix the problem by focusing only on sex itself. More effort, more pressure, more frustration, but pressure pushes desire further away. Intimacy cannot be forced. It must feel safe. It must feel mutual, and it must feel emotionally connected. The third phase begins when awareness sets in. You start realizing that the absence of intimacy is affecting more than just the bedroom. It affects how you communicate, how you see each other, how you feel about the future. You begin to understand that ignoring the problem is no longer an option. Something has to change, even if you don't know what yet. This is where many marriages reach a crossroads. Some couples continue drifting, living parallel lives under the same roof. Others choose discomfort over distance. They choose to talk, even when it's hard. They choose honesty, even when it's scary. They choose connection, even when it feels unfamiliar. Rebuilding intimacy starts small. It starts with listening without defending, with acknowledging pain without minimizing it, with validating each other's feelings even when you don't fully understand them. It starts with emotional repair before physical reconnection. Touch returns slowly, not rushed, not pressured. A hand held longer than usual, a hug that lingers, a moment of eye contact that feels intentional. Desire grows when safety grows, and safety grows through consistency and care. Sexless marriages are not a life sentence. They are a signal, a message that something needs attention, not blame. When both partners are willing to see the issue as a shared challenge instead of a personal failure, healing becomes possible. If you are watching this and seeing your own marriage reflected back at you, know this truth: you are not weak for wanting intimacy. You are human, and your desire for connection is valid. Wanting closeness does not make you needy. Avoiding it does not make you broken. It means something inside the relationship needs compassion and care. Every strong marriage goes through seasons. Some seasons are passionate, some are quiet, some are painful. What matters is whether both partners are willing to walk through those seasons together instead of apart. If you've been waiting for a sign to start the conversation, this is it. Silence protects the pain, but honesty opens the door to healing. Even one honest sentence can begin to shift the distance between you. If this video made you feel seen, understood, or less alone, take a moment to like it, share it with someone who might need it, and subscribe to the channel. This community exists to talk about the things most people are too afraid to say out loud. Sometimes the first step towards saving a marriage is realizing you're not the only one struggling. There is also a quiet grief that comes with a sexless marriage. It is the grief of losing something that is still technically there. Your partner is alive, present, and part of your daily life, yet the version of the relationship you once knew feels gone. This kind of loss is confusing because there is no clear ending to mourn, no breakup, no goodbye, just the slow disappearance of closeness. And because it is invisible, many people don't allow themselves to feel sad about it, even though the pain is real. Over time, emotional walls begin to form. You stop sharing certain thoughts because it feels pointless. You stop expressing desire because you don't want to feel rejected again. You stop asking for reassurance because you fear sounding needy. These walls feel protective, but they also block intimacy. The more they grow, the harder it becomes to remember how to be open with each other. Another sign your marriage is becoming sexless is when compliments feel uncomfortable or suspicious. If your partner suddenly notices you, it feels strange. You wonder what they want or why now. This reaction is a sign that emotional distance has been present for a long time. When intimacy fades, even positive attention can feel unfamiliar. Rebuilding connection requires patience because trust and closeness needs time to return. Many couples also stop seeing each other as romantic individuals. You see the parent, the worker, the provider, the problem solver. You forget the lover. Desire thrives when partners are seen as whole people, not just roles. When identity becomes limited to responsibility, intimacy struggles to survive. Sexless marriages often exist alongside unspoken rules. Don't bring it up. Don't make it awkward. Don't rock the boat. These rules keep peace on the surface, but they also keep distance alive underneath. Real intimacy requires honesty, even when it creates temporary discomfort. Some partners internalize the problem and assume something is wrong with them. They blame their body, their age, their attractiveness, or their worth. Others externalize it and blame their partner completely. Both reactions miss the deeper truth. Intimacy is relational. It reflects the emotional environment of the relationship, not just one person. As time goes on, fantasies may increase, not necessarily about other people, but about feeling wanted again, feeling desired, feeling alive. These fantasies are not always about sex. They are about connection, about being seen and chosen. When these needs are unmet at home, the mind looks for relief elsewhere. This is why addressing a sexless marriage early matters. Not because sex itself is everything, but because what it represents is essential. Desire reflects emotional closeness, trust, playfulness, and safety. When intimacy disappears, it is a signal that these foundations need care. In the later stage, many couples fall into emotional parallel lives. You share space but not inner worlds. You function well enough, but the relationship lacks warmth. You may even tell yourself things are fine because there is no fighting, but absence of conflict is not the same as presence of connection. Reconnection begins when one partner chooses courage over comfort, when someone speaks honestly without attacking, when someone listens without defensiveness, when both accept that the distance did not happen because one person failed, but because life, stress, fear, and silence slowly took over. Small changes matter more than grand gestures. Being emotionally present, asking how your partner really feels, offering touch without expectation, creating space for conversation without judgment. These moments rebuild trust, and trust is where desire grows. It is important to understand that intimacy will not return instantly. There may be awkwardness, there may be fear, there may be setbacks. This does not mean failure. It means healing is happening slowly, realistically, and honestly. Many couples who successfully rebuild intimacy say the same thing. They didn't just fix their sex life. They rebuilt their emotional connection. They learned how to talk again, how to listen again, how to be vulnerable again. If you are in a sexless marriage and wondering whether it can change, the answer depends less on desire and more on willingness. Willingness to reflect, willingness to communicate, willingness to grow together instead of apart. Love is not just staying, love is engaging. Love is choosing connection even when it feels uncomfortable, and intimacy is one of the deepest expressions of that choice. If this story mirrors your life, don't ignore the message it's sending you. Distance does not close on its own, but connection can be rebuilt, one honest step at a time. And if you are still here listening, it means part of you still cares. That matters. That hope, even if quiet, is not gone. Before this video ends, take a quiet moment and ask yourself one honest question. Are you truly connected to the person lying next to you at night, or are you just surviving together out of habit? A sexless marriage doesn't mean love is gone, but it does mean something important is asking for your attention. Ignoring it won't make it disappear. Silence doesn't heal distance, only awareness does. If you recognized yourself in this story, know this deeply. You are not weak for wanting intimacy. You are not wrong for missing missing closeness. Wanting to feel desired, chosen, and connected is not selfish. It is human, and your feelings matter, even if you've been hiding them for years. Many people spend their entire lives hoping things will magically change, but connection doesn't return by accident. It returns when someone is brave enough to notice the distance and honest enough to talk about it. That courage can start today, with one conversation, one moment of vulnerability, one decision to stop pretending everything is fine when it isn't. If this video made you pause, reflect, or feel less alone, don't scroll away. Like this video so more people trapped in silent marriages can find it. Share it with someone who may be struggling but doesn't know how to say it out loud. And subscribe to this channel, because here we talk about the real parts of relationships that most people are too afraid to face. Sometimes the first step toward saving a marriage isn't fixing it, it's finally seeing it clearly. And if you're still listening right now, that means part of you still believes connection is possible. Don't ignore that voice. It might be the one thing that changes everything.